glad you could make it. I was trying to look at your scripts, but it was saying I needed access.
I'm giving you access so either way, so you can open up either one.
Actually, in my screen I'm sharing, I was able to open all of them, so I thought I would just give you my impressions since I'm looking at it fresh. I'm going to start with your authority builder, and I see different acronyms. Do those mean something? ABPS,
At the very
Ricochet.
top,
Yeah,
yes, Tech Host Academy, and that's
ah,
Authority Builder Problem Solver. Yeah,
gotcha. So,
yeah.
so my first thing I want to ask about in script is I am not clear on who is it that you're trying to target for going to boring, ineffective Zoom meetings. Am I going as, is this someone you're talking to in a corporate space? Am I
Yeah.
going as
Okay.
the
Got it.
follower on a team? Am I going as a team lead?
So
Who
yeah, it can
is it?
actually be all those things. My audience for Tech Host Academy is threefold. It's those who use Zoom meetings at their work. So that could be a team leader, someone who organizes the meetings, mostly, right? But anybody can add this skill set if they just want to improve their job and improve their performance. There's also people who learn online. So those who get online to learn and they're like, oh my gosh, this presenter doesn't know how to present, or there's nobody here that's really helping me. And then the third audience is actual presenters and facilitators. But this particular one would be for people who use Zoom as part of their job. So definitely team lead, that kind of thing.
For the sake of the strength of the script, let's just
Hmm.
focus then on the team lead one. I know you had three,
Huh?
and it's not that you can't reuse basically it's the same bones of the script, but that
Right.
help just needs to be a lot more specific. So if we're going the team lead, it would be more like their team leads going to other people's meetings, or they are they're being told that they have boring, ineffective Zoom meetings and they want to improve.
Ah,
Team
yeah.
lead, are you getting feedback that your Zoom meetings are boring and ineffective?
Yeah. I love that.
And then your
Yeah.
segue could be, here's a really quick way to fix that. And that's when you're like, oh, let me actually tell you what E3 is.
Say that again.
So the hook is, are you a team lead? Hey, team leads, are you getting feedback that your Zoom meetings are boring and ineffective? If their meetings are boring and ineffective, does it mean that people aren't coming? Is the problem that they're not coming to the meetings
They're
or
not
that
engaged.
they're not engaged?
Yeah.
So another way you could say it could be not that they're getting feedback, but team leads, is no one engaging at all? Is your Zoom room dead? No one talks back to you. What phrases or how do you paint that picture of
Yeah, I would say, are you getting
crickets?
crickets? Yep. Yeah. Cool. Okay.
And then your promise of value is watch this quick video and I'll show you an easy method to get them talking. And do you remember how I had an example with where I talked about the 5 second gap? It was one
I
of the
remember
examples I
that.
shared on the Blitz, but I can relink to it.
Okay.
But basically, it's
Oh
like you're
yeah.
giving them with the name E3, and then when you actually talk about it, this is what E3 is: engaging, efficient, equitable, and here's how to do it. But see how that connects it?
Yeah. We can actually take this out completely. Okay, so these are my three different audiences. Watch this video and I'll show you an easy method to get them talking.
It's called E3, and I'll tell you more about it. And at the end, I'll share my roadmap on how to get started using this right away.
Great.
And that's how you can tighten that part before you actually dive into it.
Yeah. Okay.
When it's a specific problem to solve, keep this part focused on the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem is they're not getting engaged, and you could have another sense of what does that actually look like? You use the phrase hearing crickets, but maybe you have other specific examples like you ask for people to answer a poll, no one does it. But what are some other things that paint the picture of what that problem is?
Right.
And it sounds like the problem too is the third party collaboration tools.
Yeah. This
They're
is
they're
about
leaning on it.
contributing.
So if the specific problem is people just aren't contributing and you need them to, because why is it important that I would want to know, like, why do they need so badly for people to contribute?
To be productive, right? So a big
Mhm.
thing is that a lot of managers want to bring people back to the office because they think they're just not engaged in online. They're just not contributing.
Mhm.
But if they had effective Zoom meetings, they could work from home. if they were productive.
Okay, I'm gonna come back to that. So that was interesting what you
Yeah.
just said about the work from home. The reason I say that is this line here, I'm not asking you to entertain, but you can offer, that's already touching on the solution when we just want to talk
Ah,
about the problem. They're not
gotcha.
contributing and you need them to be productive because XYZ. And you're leaning on third-party tools and they're not working because people have a hard time adopting technology. That part made sense.
Uh-huh.
But it was this part
Yeah.
about the solution that's already creeping into your problem part. So your solution is the engage, efficient, and okay, the steps. I'm trying to figure out if these are team leads, right?
Yes.
And the goal is this is a team lead who wants, is it to become a tech host? And why do they want to become a tech host? I can't make that connection.
Ah, okay. This is really good. This is something I've had a hard time trying to explain. So they need to be able to support their team so that their team can contribute and be productive. And
Hmm.
tech hosting skills will give you the tools to do that.
So E3 is one of the tools that you know
No,
as a tech host to.
no, it's actually so engagement, efficient, and equitable. I have dozens of ways to get people engaged, dozens of ways to help people
Mhm.
be efficient and to make a meeting equitable. Like I have all kinds of ways to do that. Some of them are tools, some of them are behaviors, some of them are modeling the way.
Okay, so E3, it's almost like these are principles I should be following for any meeting
Yes,
that I lead. And for me
yes.
to implement it, you have this toolkit
I
or
have
a
this
roadmap
training.
or
Yeah.
training, right,
The
right.
the roadmap is just simply how do you become a tech host? And so it's a picture and it says here are the things that you're going to learn over your time at Tech Host Academy.
To me, that jump is too big.
It is a big
Um,
jump. Yeah.
because that's okay. I went from, okay, cool. I have now a framework, the E3 framework on what I need to be paying attention to.
Hmm.
It's like there needs to be a middle ground between, okay, great, I'm having good meetings, but what will then fuel my desire to become a tech host? What's that thing in the middle?
Yes. Their why, like why do they want to become a tech host?
Yeah,
To
because if you're saying that there's a toolbox, then the first hint should be to actually implement E3. There's so many different methods. And actually, one of them I talk about in this free resource, which is
Mm.
I think you named, what did you just, you named several just now to
Yeah.
implement E3. What were your methods? I forgot.
Yeah. So there's actual tools, there's techniques, there's modeling the way. And so that right in that, what's your solution? There's an example of each one.
I
I'm
would
give
pick,
it's like a teeny tiny training is what I've done there.
so why don't you pick one? So you told me about E3 and you say, hey, I also have a free training to help you implement E3 called Modeling the Way. Comment the word model and I'll give you that. Because you already gave value in the video. Here's a way to
Right.
help implement what I just taught you. And then later on, you can talk about the tech host. Because that jump to tech host that's the part that was broad.
That's funny. Okay. Okay. That's good. No, that's good.
Mhm.
So on,
But if you told me like, oh, E3 sounds cool, how do I implement it better right away for my meetings? Modeling the way. Okay, let me figure out what modeling the way is.
okay, so that's somewhat of a call to action. What am I putting in the solution space?
The solution is you've tested the reason why E3 works so well.
Am I offering anything there? Am I keeping that the same?
That part seemed fun because you were
Oh,
breaking
okay.
down what the E3 was.
And giving examples.
Right, like you were already giving value and telling them what the E3 method is and what the three things mean. And for each of them, you're like, hey, engage using chat, being efficient, saying how to communicate. So you were already giving value
Hmm.
in those three bullets.
Yeah, we'll skip the roadmap because they can get that after they
Mm.
take the training, and it's just an hour-long webinar.
Right.
Yeah, that has that.
And going back again to like, why does E3 work so well?
So when I talk about it, I surveyed over 100 clients, the things that they wanted out of that. E3 satisfies that. They wanted people to be productive, they wanted them to be collaborative, and they wanted them to build trust as a team. Collaboration is efficiency, productive is efficiency, collaboration is engagement, and equitable is that trust that they had within each other. So the E3 follows that. but that's not, I'm explaining it to you, but that doesn't give you the actual words that makes this more concise or succinct. That's where I
But
have
what you
trouble.
just said made a lot more sense than what you wrote.
Yeah.
E3 works because if I could, I'm just going to try to paraphrase what you just said. The
Yeah.
reason E3 works is it boosts productivity, collaboration, and whatever the third one is, which in a survey by 100 clients is the top three things meeting attendees want in a session.
Love it.
And that's all you have to say about that. It helps with these three things, which happen to be the most requested things from people want from meetings.
Yeah. Love it. Love it.
Now,
Okay.
by the way, I have a free training on how to start E3 in your meetings. Just comment blurb. Did that make sense? Like how to tie?
Yeah. Absolutely. You're like a surgeon. I don't see that. Thank you. Woohoo.
I'm gonna go to, okay, let's look at this one. Action taker. Okay, let me look at your humble brag again. I'll make this comment if you're using the same humble brag. If you're gonna call out team lead in the hook,
Yeah.
make sure be consistent with that in the humble brag.
Ah, okay.
Where I train team leads
Yeah.
how to turn resting thinking face into if we pick team lead for that first script, can this one also be for this same team lead audience?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Here's the thing. What I'm finding is of all the different types of audiences that I have, it's the corporate team leads that probably need it the most, and that I have a whole like SMART goals. It outlines how to put this into
Mm-hmm.
your like professional development when you get feedback. And so I have more tools around team leads than anybody. The other ones, I reach them in other ways. They're not going to see
Yeah.
these particular videos and be like, oh, wow, that's me. I have networks for those other two audiences. This one I have no access to. I have no idea how to get these folks.
Okay. So for this one, the first one was about as a team lead, I don't want my meetings to be boring and for people to not contribute at all.
Yeah.
This one, the angle seems to be I want my attendees to not only contribute, but actually, it's almost like they get to take a back seat because the attendees are now the ones driving the conversation.
No,
What that
so
is?
actually I'm trying to encourage them to be more like stagehands. Like I want others to take action and I want to be there and be supportive and in a role where I'm not at the front of the room telling them what to do.
Kind of like the analogy, you should teach someone to fish rather than just giving the fish for them.
Because we're not teaching people to also teach other people how to be tech hosts. And I don't like the term servant leader because of just the what that means in terms of servant, but it's that
Mm.
kind of thing where you are empowering other people in the meeting by giving them the tools and the resources they need to be engaged and effective. Some team leads probably aren't very good managers or they're not really managing people well, so they just get bossy. We're going to do this and we're going to do this and we're going to do this. And instead, if they were to learn how to facilitate a meeting so that they're letting others take action, then it's more empowering and it's less of them being bossy and more of them helping other people take action.
Someone who's actually concerned that because not everyone cares if they come off bossy or not, right?
Then they're not my client. I can't fix them. But
No, right, right.
that's
But I'm
not the
saying
way
like
to be effective.
the
Right,
type of
right.
person who cares,
Yeah.
it's I don't want to be bossy.
Some people are also introverts and they don't want to come off that they won't even be that way, but they can't get people to move. So it's almost like they want to do it. And I don't want to say in a stealth or a covert way, but they just want to be more passive or quiet about it.
It felt like the hook would be not more effective. It has to be something really like cuts me like immediately like yes, that's
Are you
me.
are you an introvert leading a
Yeah.
whole team full of extroverts?
That one is way more direct and then would grab attention more than what you wrote.
Yeah.
Because I come from corporate speak and I can
Yeah.
notice corporate speak because I write in corporate speak and
Right.
I had to like not unlearn, but I had to really shift. I was like, would I actually say that? I was like, oh, Heather, your meeting was so effective. I was like, no, your meeting actually got shit done. That's how I would probably normally talk to
Hmm.
you. So what really stood out with what you were saying is how to get people to take action without bossing them around.
Did I say, yeah, I think I wrote that down there. Many people, myself included, want to change to happen, but don't want to come off bossy, especially if you aren't the one in charge. Okay.
But that's
Yes.
further in too. It's like,
Yeah,
what if
that's
I'm like,
true.
I think that bossiness touches on something with identity of I don't want to be seen as bossy, but I do want people to get stuff done. Instead of take charge from the back room, how to become a better facilitator so I can empower people to
Yeah.
take action, to want to take action themselves. That's the value you're about to teach me here.
Yeah.
And then down here, there has to be like an
So,
action they could, if you were to say they hate having to tell people what to do. So
right.
what's a quick
Design.
thing you can tell them to so that they don't have to rely on just telling people what to do?
Yeah. It's like designing the meeting to help your team members take action. So your team members and take action. This is great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is really helpful to get this extra zhuzhing because this is where I get stuck. And gosh, I couldn't even have done this with my other audiences. So this is great.
And also like for the part about why you hate it, is it they hate it because they still feel like it's them doing all the work? You talk about look bad in front of others, but is it also it's not long-lasting effects on their team? They're still the ones doing all the work. You could dig up
Yeah.
maybe dig more into that in that part.
Yeah. Another thing that's really important to me but I don't, this is a whole nother theme that I would have to start, and that's glue work. Glue work is really important to me, that we all become the glue. Just because you're the team lead doesn't mean you have to be all the glue.
Mm.
It's your team to be the glue. I don't know. Anyway,
Is that in your belief builder, or that's just a different thought you had? That's
that's
also
just
a
a
great
different thought
belief
I have,
builder.
but that would be a good belief builder. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes you have the title lead and you think you almost feel like it should all be on you and it doesn't have to.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, I love that. The burden's not all on you. Okay,
Mhm.
great. Share teamwork makes the dream work.
And it's cliche, but it's, oh, it is true.
Oh, it is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
What I
Well,
can do
thank
is,
you.
I know you have to jump off. I'll just
Yeah.
give my first impressions on the other three, and then
Okay.
you can watch the replay and make adjustments. But yeah, just taking that pass of who is it again? And I think more of that conversational punchiness of like, how would I actually say this to someone?
Phew, I can do
Yeah.
that. I don't want to insult any, I don't want to alienate anybody right off the bat, but I definitely want to speak directly to the people that I want to take the class. So yeah, I can get there. All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna keep going, so you can jump off. I'm gonna keep
Thanks
talking.
so much. Take care. Bye.
Okay, it's looking at this belief builder. I'm just gonna read it for a minute. So this one seemed built around the belief that in-person meetings are better. So that is the belief of, I'm just gonna continue with your target avatar of team lead. So this is a team lead who thinks in-person meetings are better. At least that's my impression based on how I read. And because they think in-person meetings are better, they believe that online meetings can be a waste of time or just not nearly as productive. So that hook could be stronger. It could be something like how to make your online meetings just as valuable and productive as in-person meetings. So you want people to believe that it's the people who will make the difference, regardless of the type of meeting that it is, right? All meetings don't have to suck. I think I am a little lost here in terms of the belief that you're trying to dispel, because I thought it was changing someone's mind that an in-person meeting doesn't mean it's always better than an online one, because your solution is about how virtual meetings could be even more engaging and efficient if designed right. I'm struggling to make that connection on how it's the people in the meetings. Why is that the thing that you're focusing on? If the people are the same, then what's the difference? Is it the communication with the people in the meeting or how to better guide the people who are attending the meetings that will make a meeting more effective? I can't give quite as good feedback as in the first two scripts because I'm more unclear on where you were trying to go with this. So that's my feedback for this script. Then we look at your conversation starter. Your team engaged without being bossy. Okay, I love that. The bossy, the tech geek. A more casual way that you could test saying this, if it's more conversational, could be without bossing them around. If you read it out loud, would you say without being perceived as bossy, or would you say something more along the lines of without bossing them around? Which is something to think about. Show you a few examples of how you can make online meetings more effective. So going back to the consistency of language, there's engagement versus effective. It almost seems like you could use other words to tie back into that engagement word that you're using in the beginning. In this video, I will show you a few examples of how you can make team members actively participate in your online meetings, because that ties back better with the engagement that you're mentioning in the hook. So in the main content here for how it works, yes, it's a more concise breakdown of what E3 is. If there is a way where you can defining quickly what E3 is and that it boosts collaboration productivity on a survey of over 100 managers, if you can weave that into this how it works section, and then put the call to action of I have a free resource, a free training of how to E3 your meetings. That's the way you could tighten up that bottom part. The conversation starter is essentially a much tighter version of this particular authority builder script. And then now for your power offer. Let's see, this one sentence promise. I feel like the vision of heaven needs to be more here in the one sentence promise. So something like, I'll help you design and deliver meetings that team members eagerly attend or actively participate in or feel empowered by. That's the promise with just 3 quick lessons. Paint more of the vision of heaven there. And in just 3 quick lessons, you'll be able to help others thrive in other environments, and then you can actually go into the benefits. But for each of these benefits, there needs to be another sentence or phrase to really crystallize or visualize what that benefit is. So when you say help others thrive in environments, I need to know, what is your definition of thriving in an online environment? Is it that someone proactively speaks up in the meeting? They proactively give suggestions and don't feel scared that they'll say something dumb? Is that what thriving in an online environment is? It's good that one benefit is you show them what technology to use so that they're not wasting time testing a bunch of different tools only to find out that they don't really work or they're not user friendly. The benefit is giving them the exact list of tools that you know are successful and are tried and true tools to use as a tech host. And then design and deliver meetings that matter. What does it mean that they'll matter? That people walk away from the meeting, feel like they know exactly what they're supposed to do next. So what does meetings that matter mean? So really just painting clearer pictures for each of these benefits. I do really like this without statement, like without having to be a bossy tech geek. But the thing is, if someone isn't hooked enough in the intro and by the promise, are they gonna still be watching or reading up to this last point? So that's why I'm trying to help refine that beginning part up here. And then for your call to action, Tech Host Academy. My one question, does your audience already know what the phrase tech host means and what that entails? Because if this is that team lead audience, that I'm just a little unclear of what is the difference between being a team lead or tech host. Can you paint that picture? Is a tech host someone who has all these tools under their belt that perhaps the team lead doesn't yet have because they haven't gone through your training? But your tech host academy, and maybe that's really what the promise is, that in Tech Host Academy, I teach team leads all of my tried and true methods for designing and delivering meetings that get results and get people engaged to participate and leave them feeling empowered and clear on what they're supposed to do. So that way, there's a bit of a definition of what tech host means in your world. Because, yeah, maybe there are team leads who aren't quite sure what a tech host even is, and then are like, what is this academy? And that makes them wonder, is the Tech Host Academy even for me? Now, if you feel like your audience is already really clear on what the tech host position entails, then you don't have to necessarily follow what I was just suggesting, but that was my initial response in terms of the clarity of what your academy is about. It was really cool to see you go through each of these scripts, and you can resubmit an updated version of this in next week's thread, and I can take a look at it again. But even the small tweaks that you made to the first couple scripts that we went over together is already clearer than when I was first reading them. Great work, Heather. Thank you.